It is 7 p.m. and we are going to begin the Prairie Common Council meeting for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Elena, would you please take the roll?
Jacobs, Owens,
Here.
Rosas,
Present.
Baker,
Here.
Comstock,
Here.
Crombie,
Here.
Drangler,
Here.
and we have quorum.
Thank you, Elena. If you are able, would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get into the consent agenda, if I could have this group's permission, we are going to go to Alder Comstock. Alder Comstock has something she would like to read, and I'll follow it up with something I would like to read.
Thank you, Mayor. Since being elected, I've had the opportunity to attend some swearing-in events for newly hired police officers and for our police chief. I am reminded of the day that I, too, was sworn in as an alder. Each of us up here have all been sworn in. What did we swear to? To support the Constitution of the United States, the state of Wisconsin, and the ordinances of the city of Sun Prairie. I will tell you, I think the original is a little bit bigger than this. We are focused right now on a referendum, hoping it passes so city employees can continue to be employed. Do we all agree on how that should be done? Probably not. We don't all agree on signs or sidewalks. We are not all conservative or all liberal. Regardless of our differences, we all agreed to support the U.S. Constitution, which protects people's rights. In that, we are unified, and that, I believe, is the most important thing we do. Minneapolis is only a minute away. Each day, we see front doors being bashed in, residents being dragged out of their homes or their cars, a mother shot and killed, knees on necks, faces covered. We hear that 1,500 troops in Alaska are standing by. We see anger, hostility, and fear. What, we likely ask, can we do about that? We can remember who we are and what we agreed to, and we can believe that we have the power to influence change. Honestly, we may be the only ones who can. My commitment to the people I represent, residents and employees among others, is to always keep the oath I made close at hand. I will speak up, I will stand by, I will step in, I will say no more. I will not turn my back. I will not say, well, it's not me, so it's not my problem. I was born here and I have a passport. Inhumane treatment of others is not acceptable. Cruelty is not acceptable. Killing is not acceptable. Pulling families apart is not acceptable. It is my problem, and I accept it.
You're here.
Thank you, Alder Comstock. On a similar but different, I would like to read the following statement also. And this goes for both everybody at the dais, audience, listening audience. Now that we've crossed the threshold into 2026, I want to take a moment to reflect on the power of positivity and respect. This year, I urge each of you to embrace an attitude of positivity like never before. Let us make a conscious choice to leave negativity outside the room and step into meetings with positive mindset. This also applies to any emails or non-meeting interaction. Why is this so important? Because our environment is shaped by attitudes. When we choose positivity, we create a space that everyone feels valued and respected. Our staff should feel empowered to present their ideas and proposals without fear of being attacked or demeaned. Each voice matters and deserves to be heard. Let us celebrate the successes of our colleagues and uplift one another through constructive feedback. When we respect each other, we build trust and collaboration. I ask each of you to reflect on how you can contribute to this positive environment. Together, we can transform our council into a beacon of positivity and respect. Please let us make 2026 a year where we lift each other up, where we support our staff, where we foster a set of belonging, and in the end, where we look back and know that we've achieved some remarkable things. Thank you. Okay, on to the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And before we approve it, I will direct everybody to look at the consent agenda. The consent agenda went on a little bit of a diet. It was my hope that what we could do is, instead of putting a lot of information or a lot of items on the consent agenda, for full transparency, we move them to the committees, boards, or commissions that they belong. So I want to thank staff for going along with this. And even though the agenda looks longer, it's just less than the consent agenda. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Okay, under citizen appearance, we have a couple of people who would wish to speak. Joe Chase, if you could please come forward and give us your name and address. I think I turned the green light on there, so you should be good to go.
Yes, she's green to go. I would like to give you all a handout first, because I won't have the time to say everything I want to say, but you'll have time to study it for the next time.
There'll be a test. Thank you.
I wanted to speak tonight about an item that was on your last committee of the whole about tourism. And particularly what it was about was two signs that they were asking to have approval to purchase and have installed. When I listened to that talk and looked at the handout, it appeared to me that there were a number of things that were what I'll call misleading. And maybe not because of a staff misleading, but because of the kind of parameters that were put on the sign company to come up with something that would work for $30,000. Well, I want to tell you, you aren't going to get a quality sign for $30,000 to do what's trying to be done. The proposed locations are not ideal for tourism to start with, where they're going to put these. Visitors would have to know to get off of Highway 151 before they would ever see the proposed signs that are on off exit ramps or outside of it once you get off the exit ramps. So by the one by Highway 151, we already know that you're going to be in Sun Prairie. Out on Highway 151, there's signage coming to Sun Prairie. The first one says next 4 exits, Sun Prairie. The next one says City of Sun Prairie. So you've already got conforming highway signs that identify our community. So putting a sign inside off the ramps to say you're in Sun Prairie is very redundant, and it appears to me that it doesn't meet any kind of standards at all, particularly the way these signs are being designed. I appreciate a lot of tourists get off at Grand Avenue. I'll call them day tourists or retail tourists. They're coming here to go to Prairie Lakes and the surrounding retail area and food venues, and they spend their money and they go home. So they're considered a tourist, but they're a day traveler, if you will. The signs that are being proposed don't even say welcome on them. And they are referred to in your text as welcome signs. Well, again, the word welcome is not on there. There's a vertical sign being proposed on Grand Avenue that's 10 feet tall and 3 feet wide. You know what? I just measured my television before I came over. It's 3 feet wide. So why you would put a pole 3 feet wide, 10 feet tall, in the middle of a median with a big, what I call a throwable, because that's what a spinning disk is when you're downloading your software, a throwable. So you got this big head on this sign, which takes up 1/4 of the sign. It's not an attractive sign. So it's out of proportion, and I don't think that's the kind of welcome we want to offer to people coming to Sun Prairie. It's actually also, there's a reason those kinds of signs aren't out on Highway 151, because there's a federal standard that says they're a distraction. They serve no purpose. So the other sign is coming in on West Main Street. It's a box sign, I call it, because it's rectangular. It really is not any more attractive than the others, than any of the standard commercial signs in that area. This sign is being designed to be 10 feet wide and have 7 interchangeable civic coins on the sign. Now, since it's 10 feet wide and they show 7 discs, coins, tell me if you can read this, because this is how fast, at 25 miles an hour, you're going to have to read these little signs. They serve no purpose. The sign is not well designed. This is 12 inches. The signs on the SP1 by Walgreens, 2.5 times the size, 30 inches. So unless they are deciding they're only going to put four 30-inch signs on it, sign coming on West Main Street, it doesn't make any sense. In your packet, you will see 2 signs that are near that location. One for the Element apartment buildings, and one for the oil change company. The Element sign is 10 feet wide, the same proposed size of what they're going to put out on Main Street to advertise what's going on in our community and to welcome people. The oil change sign is 13 feet. And again, I don't think I want to compare a welcome sign, an entrance sign to our community, to an oil change sign. So I'm just saying that when you look at the signs that were given to you and the pictorials and the sketches that were shown, they're misinterpreting. They don't tell you truthfully what's going to happen. If you look at the one coming in on Main Street, the illustration, and it isn't in this packet, but the illustration shows a man standing next to it for size example, and he's 1 foot off the curb. Well, that is not where you put signs. And so I just say to you that this whole thing needs to be re-looked at. I don't see that in any way that these signs are helping the hotels in our town, which is where tourism money comes from. Tourism money is a tax that's to the hotels. And there's only one hotel on Grand Avenue. The rest of them are not even in anywhere near West Main Street. So coming on West Main Street doesn't help any hotels. It doesn't tell you anything about tourism. So again, it's another thing that I think that needs to be looked at.
Okay, Joe?
The other question, can I have just 2 minutes, Jim?
Sure.
Are they two-sided signs? Because if they are, the one coming out of Main Street, you can't see it with traffic going the other direction. Only traffic coming in can see it. Traffic going out can't. And again, if you're attracting tourists, you don't need a sign telling them going out of town with the tall one that they're putting on Grand Avenue. You don't need the other side. So you're saving some money if you want to make it a less of a deal. So I want a couple of closing remarks. I've left this for you. Well, as a matter of fact, I should tell you what these things are in your packet. I'll go through them very, very quickly.
Oh, we can look at them. Joe, what I'm going to do is I'll set up a meeting with you, me, and Colleen.
I'd be happy to. I talked to Colleen after the last meeting. And,
Okay. Yeah, I will.
And again, they don't have any objection to what they're proposing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll personally follow up on that.
And I want to tell you that if they thought that they only had $30,000 to spend, well, I remember when this branding thing all came together, there was $50,000 in ARPA money that was transferred to economic development from tourism that was supposed to be for branding, and branding was supposed to be for signage. So that was another concern. And the only other thing is, I don't think we want a cheap sign. And I realize that we don't have a good location. There are not a good location for a sign coming into our community. And we don't need a cheap sign because I'll quote Mr. Jacobs, even though he isn't here. Tourism has so much money, they don't know how to spend it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, Alder Rosas, you had an introduction.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here, I have a friend of mine that's standing right next to me. He is not only the state of Wisconsin champion, but he's also a world champion. A lot of these athletes are really humble. They just don't go out and seeking recognition. When I looked at his record, I found it quite impressive, and I felt that it needed to be recognized. This is Taylor Griff. He's a state champion. He also is a champion for the Universal World Wrestlers. He graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He is currently a coach and teaches wrestling to young people throughout Dane County, including his 4-year-old daughter, Mina, that's standing right next to him. I saw a video of this young lady wrestling kids twice her age and taking them down. I found that not only entertaining, but also impressive. So that's one of the reasons why I invited him here to, introduce himself. I wanted to recognize him as an athlete, as a professional for our state of Wisconsin, and I like to speak about the championships he has won. He's a 5th in the UWW World Champion 2019, UWW Veterans World Champion 2024, UWW Veterans World Bronze 2025, United States Champion / Team USA, and 2 times Pan American Champ, 1-time Golden Boot. He can explain that to you, what that means. 15-time International Gold Medalist, 24 times International Medalist, 4 times 1D NCCA All-American, 5th, another 5th, 3rd, and 2nd. So this is Mr. Graff, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you, Santiago. So first and foremost, I want to thank Santiago and his wife for personally welcoming us and then bringing us this opportunity to introduce myself and give a little bit of my background, and also introduce my daughter and some of her wrestling background too, may as well. So I brought some stuff. I'm more of a visual learner, and I figured it's a little easier to kind of remember by seeing, and it's also kind of what helps make these opportunities to go and achieve dreams that I chase day in and day out and travel the world happen. And it's all because of the sponsors and because of the support of the support system that I have around me. So if we could just pass that around. Okay. Yeah. So, and you guys can open that, take as much as you'd like. So recently, I actually got connected with Sue Plays Wrestling, which is actually based out of Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria. And in the United States, they're based out of, not sure which city, Boise, Idaho? Okay. So they are right now known as probably the most elite when it comes to making combat and fitness training equipment. So this was like actually days recent. So, and this is what their logo looks like. So I'll give a shout out to them and appreciation to them for having me on board. And these are the wrestling shoes that I wear, and how they support. And then Barbarian Apparel, they are my apparel company, and this is the logo that they have. So if you guys ever see this, that's from Barbarian Apparel. Now it's more of a wrestling brand than anything. So kind of like how Nike and Adidas and Asics, wrestling's got some of their own brands. Barbarian Apparel is one of them, and this is what I wore at this year's World Championship tournament. And so those would be on suplays.com and barbarianapparel.com. And then the last one would be, of course, nutrition's an important aspect when it comes to training and day in and day out, doing 2 workouts a day or more, and consistently throughout the years. I'm 36 now. And this also doesn't have to be just for athletes. This is for anybody. It's just pure collagen protein. It's all natural, organic, and it's vegan friendly. So if anybody is interested in trying these, that's the box that I passed around. So some of my background, in a nutshell, I could basically explain that I was recruited here from Colorado. I was a 4-time state champion there by Barry Davis, and I was here. I graduated in 2014. Up till the year I had my final opportunity to win a world title, I was in the World Championship tournament 4 times. So it was a lot of persistence and a lot of trial and error and a lot of grinding and just kind of questioning whether if I want to continue this hard sport or not, and if I'm realistically able to achieve this goal. So I got to about 2022 and I had my daughter. I was getting up in age and I took some time off, and I wasn't so sure if this is what I meant to do anymore, but I think the break actually gave me a little bit of time to refuel the fire, and I found that drive and that desire again to want to be the best. And thankfully I took that inner gut feeling and I went for it in 2024, and I got the job done for USA, and thankful for that. And with all that said, I'm appreciative of Santiago allowing me and you guys having me here to give some of my side of the story, but to add to the community and what Sun Prairie has specifically been to me and my family. So the summer that we moved here in 2023, we actually met Santiago's extended family, his wife, at the library, at Sun Prairie Library, at the children's story times. So my daughter and his granddaughter ended up becoming best friends, and I never really realized all the activities and the opportunities for kids to learn at libraries that they had until I had my daughter and until we moved here. And when we moved back here to Wisconsin, we felt very welcome, and there was so much positive take. I can go on for a long time listing all the cool things that they had the kids doing, but I just felt like there's a lot of good things that are happening here in Sun Prairie, in the community as a whole. I don't believe in accidents. I'm not a superstitious person, but I don't believe in accidents. I think these things happen for a reason. I have a saying that you don't direct the soul, but you feel it. And so if you feel it, the right stuff, and then you'll go the right direction. And I'm just privileged to be here and have this opportunity to speak and to meet you guys. So thank you all for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. If you would, could you please come around? I don't know how many of us have shaken the hand of a world champion.
future champion.
Congratulations. Was it Tyler? I thought it was, yeah, he said Taylor, I thought, but I thought it was Tyler. Yeah. Hi again. And you still are cute. Yeah. Be careful, she'll take you down. Okay, next we have Kalina Stefan. Kalina, would you please come forward? And please state your name and address.
All right, Kalina Stephen, 3081 Andor Lane. Good evening on this very chilly night. I am here to briefly introduce myself as a candidate for school board in the April election. My husband and I have lived in Sun Prairie for the last 15 years. Started off the first 5 years in a little apartment off 19 before building our home in Bristol, where we've lived for the past 10 years with our 2 young children who are in or will be in elementary school this fall. I have been deeply involved with school board work over the past several years, serving on committees, frequently attending and speaking at the meetings, advocating as a community member, and working through all of our governance policies, trying to make them both more equity-focused and outcomes-based. I also worked very closely with current board members, Melissa Grayson and Isaac Sung, in their campaigns last spring. And Isaac and I are running a very closely aligned campaigns in this spring. Just to run briefly through the priorities that we have, first, we need to hire great leaders in the district, starting with a superintendent who closely aligns with the community values that we have, and will prioritize classroom support for our teachers, clear career pathways, and pay transparency. And actually, I'll put in a plug that next Monday, the 26th, the school board will do an initial review of potential search firms that will be conducting that superintendent search for those who are interested in keeping in tune with that process. Second is academic achievement for every student, which is built on the foundation of safe and equitable learning environments where students of all abilities can learn. And we use consistent measures of progress so that we can understand what's working and what's not, and where we need to direct more resources. And then third, there's a lot of work to be done rebuilding trust with the community. And that's not just through transparent decision-making, but communication and showing how community feedback leads to action. That's something I hear a lot, is that people who serve on committees or they fill out a survey, they don't understand then where does the change or the shaping of outcomes result? How do we know that our involvement has an impact? Kind of tangential to that is something that I would really like to explore, more relevant to this audience specifically, is identifying ways for the city and the district to collaborate more closely on the programs and services that we offer, looking for ways to both maximize the impact that those offerings provide to the community, as well as maximizing tax dollar investment, which is a very popular topic right now. So I think there's a lot of potential we could have there, and would love to start up some of those conversations after April 7th, if I am so fortunate to become part of the board. I can be found, for anyone watching or here, I can be found on Facebook and Instagram right now. There will be more information coming out. I also have a campaign email, Kalina for SPASD @gmail.com, and that's spelled KALEENAFORSPASD @gmail.com. Would love to hear from anyone who has questions or just wants to share their perspective. Thank you for the time tonight, and stay warm this week.
Thank you, Kalina. Would you like to go around and personally shake hands with the group? As long as you're here. Came in out of the cold. Yeah, thanks for coming out. Sorry for messing up your last name, but our values align. I have a collaboration meeting with Diana maybe this week. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next I have the privilege to present a couple of proclamations. Abby, would you please come forward with your family if you'd like? going to give you this, Abby, and then. Okay, good evening. This is an opportunity to thank someone who's had a vision that just totally aligns with the sustainability in Sun Prairie. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I'll read the proclamation, and then if Abby wants to say a few words, we'll allow that. So this proclamation reads, whereas Abby Wells of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, has been a member of Girl Scouts for 13 years, participating in Daisy, Brownie, Junior, Cadet, Senior, and Ambassador level Girl Scouting. And whereas through their Girl Scout Gold Award program, Girl Scouts USA maintains that a Scout must identify a root cause of a need with a national or global community link and demonstrate leadership by creating a sustainable and measurable impact within their community and fulfill a minimum of 80 hours dedicated to its completion. And whereas for Abby's Gold Award project, she partnered with the City of Sun Prairie Parks and Forestry Department to utilize donated fruit trees and unused city land to develop a community orchard and the largest pollinator garden in the City of Sun Prairie, providing free, fresh fruit to all members of the Sun Prairie community. Abby led a team of 45 members of the community, Parks and Forestry Department, and fellow Girl Scouts to plant 55 dwarf fruit trees and 750 square feet of pollinator garden. A wooden trellis designed and built by Abby welcomes visitors to the orchard, where they can learn more about what the orchard offers through educational signs she designed and installed. Additionally, birdhouses sponsored by community members provide needed shelter for local species of birds that will contribute to natural pest control. And whereas on January 6, 2026, Abby Wells earned Girl Scout Gold Award, the highest award obtainable from Girl Scouts USA through their membership of GSUSA, Wisconsin Badgerland Council, and Troop 2974. And whereas earning the Gold Award has completed the trifecta of highest Girl Scout awards for Abby, having previously earned the Bronze Award as the Junior Girl Scout and Silver Award as the Cadet Girl Scout. And whereas Abby has grown as a leader and earned respect from both her community and fellow Girl Scouts through their impact on identifying and implementing lasting change within the community of Sun Prairie's access to fresh produce for all. Now therefore I, Stephen C. Stocker, by the power vested in me as mayor on behalf of the city of Sun Prairie, hereby congratulate Abby Wells on achieving the prestigious Girl Scout Gold Award and commend her dedication and years of service to Girl Scouts USA and the community of Sun Prairie. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words? Oh, we're going to get a picture here. Okay. Come on, parents. Get in the picture. You can hold that. Here, just a minute, Mark. Okay. If you would like to say a few words.
I will say this is like the biggest thing that I have done like in Girl Scouts, just like in general so far. I've had a lot of fun working on this too. Like before starting this project, I never thought that I would be able to do something this big. But I had a lot of support too. Cindy, way in the back. Hi, Cindy. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Like I've had so much fun working with you and like Katie and everybody else. I genuinely had so much support and like I couldn't have done it without you guys. And to my parents, thank you for following along with all my shenanigans. But yeah, like I've lived in Sun Prairie my entire life and I've watched it grow. Like the public library was mentioned previously, but like the civic theater and like all of our parks and stuff, this is such a wonderful place to be. And I'm so glad that I could just have this wonderful opportunity to contribute to this growing community and have a lasting impact. So yeah, thank you guys for all your support.
Do we have Cindy to come up and say something also? Cindy, this might be putting you on the spot, but would you like to say anything about this project? I know you had a huge role to play in this. Yeah. Yeah. Even at church, you get called on if you sit in the back.
Yes, thank you. Well, yeah, congratulations, Abby, and thank you so much to Abby and her family for doing this for the city of Sun Prairie. It was really good timing. We had kind of had this project idea, and then Abby came along and we talked about it, and she made it happen. So we're really excited. It's kind of an unused spot in the city, and I think because of a lot of work that Abby put in, it's going to be a really great asset for the city. So thank you guys for doing all the work. So.
Great. And just so everybody knows where this is located, it's the backside, the opposite side of the community garden on Linnerud. There's this wonderful trellis that Abby built, and you go into this wonderful pollinator garden and orchard. So please, when the weather gets warmer, take a look at it. Fabulous job. Would you like to go around and shake hands with the council? Sure. You can, yeah, go ahead. Okay. Thank you for your service. Okay, Chad. Okay, Chad, are you? Okay, now we're going to have the Groundhog Day prognostication proclamation. Cindy, you get to come up again. There you go. Okay, this is an annual tradition for anybody that's lived in Sun Prairie for at least a year. This is our proclamation for the upcoming Groundhog Day, which is the culmination of our Frozen Fest. And again, every year, February 2nd, we celebrate Groundhog Day just across the street. But the proclamation reads, whereas the annual Groundhog Day prognostication in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin has been a formal tradition since 1948 and has roots dating back to Colonel William Angel in 1889. Let it be known that Jimmy the Groundhog is the official mascot and ambassador of the city of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, and is known worldwide as the finest weather prognosticator. Furthermore, because of Jimmy's fame and excellent accuracy rate, Sun Prairie has come to be known as the groundhog capital of the world. And whereas, like his ancestors before him, Jimmy has acquired the uncanny ability to predict the arrival of spring. As in previous years, his annual prognostication will be shared and celebrated across Wisconsin and the nation. Whereas the city of Sun Prairie, the Sun Prairie Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department, the Sun Prairie Historical Museum, and Downtown Business Improvement District, along with the Sun Prairie Tourism Commission, the Sun Prairie Chamber of Commerce, the Sun Prairie Media Center, the Sun Prairie Police Department Color Guard, the Sun Prairie Fire Department, the Sun Prairie Police Department, and Sun Prairie Public Works Department, and local businesses throughout Sun Prairie sponsor and host festivities and events throughout the community to help celebrate this time-honored tradition. Whereas in the early morning hours of February 2nd, visitors from far and wide will journey to Cannery Square in downtown Sun Prairie to hear Jimmy the Groundhog's answer to the age-old question, how many weeks of winter are left? Whatever the answer, be it known to all that Jimmy the Groundhog remains the most accurate and true prognosticator and is the standard by which all others are measured. Now therefore, I, Stephen C. Stocker, Mayor of the City of Sun Prairie, do hereby proclaim February 2nd, 2026 Groundhog Day in the city of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, the groundhog capital of the world, and I urge all citizens to join in the celebration across our fine city. So, Chad, Cindy, would you like to say a few words? You got it. Oh, picture first? Okay. Come on in, Cindy. So I do want to say before Chad comes up, it's just for full transparency, Jimmy is always right. It's the way that the mayor interprets what Jimmy's saying, that's what gets messed up sometimes. So I've gone to school for that, so I'm ready for February 2nd.
Yep, and I'll be brief, but yeah, definitely an event that we're honored to have, and we look forward to every year and being a part of in the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry departments. Gosh, I wish Jade was here tonight because Jade definitely puts a lot of work into Frozen Fest, which is coming up and leads up to Groundhog Day. So I just want to put that plug in for Frozen Fest activities. That'll be starting up here real soon. Check out our website, and of course, to top it off, Groundhog Day. So thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Item that will be a monument.
Yes.
I didn't know
Should we do
who
that now?
might be willing to
Okay.
take that one.
Okay.
But I just-
Okay, good point. Okay, our city administrator has given me a really good suggestion. If it's okay with the council, I would like to move item G for Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Commission up next before Plan Commission to talk about the Rotary and their monument and MOU. So would that be okay with the group?
Alder Crombie, I
Okay,
believe, is the
yep,
Parks
Alder
Rep.
Crombie, if you want to bring this forward, please.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. So at the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Commission meeting on January 14th, 2026, last week, the commission unanimously approved the installation of Rotary Club's monument at Patrick Marsh with conditions. This was also, many of you are on the Planning Commission and have had this presentation before, but the Plan Commission unanimously approved the placement and architectural design of the Rotary Club's monument at Patrick Marsh with conditions. The Rotary Club of Sun Prairie is proposing to construct a monument with a viewing platform within the Patrick Marsh Wildlife Area, and which was recently acquired by the city park. And I know that staff did a tremendous amount of work on this, also Mayor Stocker. It was intended to honor Bill Wambach, a city resident and longtime supporter of Patrick Marsh, and to create an educational and community-focused space that highlights the environmental, historical, surveying significance of Patrick Marsh that supports ongoing student learning, conservation awareness, and public engagement. So there was a lot of work going into this from May of 2023 through January 9th of 2020, or January 13th of 2026. The Rotary Club's been working on this project for several years with city staff and various external partners on design and funding of the project. Over the last several months, the Rotary Club has sat several times with city staff to talk through the engineering design plans and signage materials for the project. There is a deadline So I believe there, in your packet, there's an MOU with the Rotary Club, an erosion control permit, groundswell conservancy approval letter, and I believe there is also a May 15th deadline to complete most of this work. Staff will still continue to work with Rotary on this. On January 14th, 2026, the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Commission unanimously approved a recommendation to refer the installation of the Rotary Club monument at Patrick Marsh to the council for approval, contingent upon the Rotary Club working cooperatively with city staff to minimize construction or impacts, implementation, restoration measures, obtaining written approval of signage language by the Parks and Recreation Director, and continuing to comply with the memorandum of understanding regarding the project. And I will make a motion that we go ahead and we approve this.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We do have some folks in the audience who support the project and are available to answer questions. We have John Belkin. We have Dan Fields. We have Dan Berencott. We have Debbie Fox Schrader and Jeannie Barron. So if there's anybody that has questions, and we also have Cindy Bertley again, the Cindy night, who has been very instrumental in making this happen. So is there any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. Elena, would you please read the roll?
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Dringler,
Aye.
and that passes 6-0.
Okay, and with the council's permission, I would like to add one more aye to the unofficial. This would be an unofficial aye on behalf of Bill Wambach.
Noted.
I want to add it on behalf of Bill Wambach. I know he's looking down on us and saying he would give his aye to this. So, yeah, please add that to the record. Bill Wambach's aye. Okay, thank you. Now we'll go back to Plan Commission. John, get started on that tomorrow, if you would, please. The weather's going to break at some point. So get that monument in. Thank you, everybody, for your hard work on this.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, next, Plan Commission. Go back to Alder Rosas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The applicant, Waybridge Village Corporation, is requesting approval of the conditional use permit, CUP, to construct 4 duplex condominiums and 1 single-unit condominium for a total of 9 units on the south side of Bronze Leaf Lane, located south of West Main Street, east of South Westmount Drive. Bronze Leaf Lane is a private road providing access from the West Main Street and Westmount Drive, as well as public sewer and water, and I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Elena, would you please read the roll?
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Dringler,
Aye.
and that passes 6-0.
Thank you, Elena. Next item.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Sun Prairie is requesting approval of a certified survey map, CMM, to combine 13 lots into one lot. It's Patrick Marsh, 2375 Stone Quarry Road. The city recently acquired Patrick Marsh from Groundwell Conservancy. In October, the land was annexed into the city, making the marsh the city's first conservative park. Because of the CME, it is for public-owned land. It is required to be reviewed and approved by the Plan Commission and City Council. The purpose of CMN is to clean up property lines and consolidate the parkland into one parcel. In addition, the 911 addressing system requires every parcel to have its own address. By combining this parcel, we are ensuring that only one address is needed for Patrick Marsh, thus avoiding any potential confusion should an emergency arise. And I move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have Josh in the back if there's any questions. Okay, hearing none. Elena, please read the roll.
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that passes 6-0.
Thank you very much. On to public safety. Alder Rosas.
Public safety approval of sorry. Approval of the extension of the towing service contract 21/D, I think it's PD07, and I recommend approval. Thank you.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Alder Baker.
Thank you, Chair. The question I had was the fiscal impact, the $500, and what is that cost? Because from what I understand, it's the costs are passed on to the people's vehicles that are being towed.
In some cases, they are. In some cases, the city is paying the cost because we're directing that the car be towed. So in some cases, we are paying the cost.
So are we not able to recoup the dollars from someone, or?
I know Chief Work is in the back.
I just did this to get him out of his chair. Here. He needed steps today, so. Thanks, Chief.
No problem. That cost, like Administrator Oppenheimer said, is for us, like when we have a vehicle, is for evidence, where we take custody of that vehicle, we transport it back to our evidence facility. It could be for a broken down squad car that happens out in the community where the tow company charges us. I think it's $25. I mean, it's basically nothing to have that car towed, so we couldn't put that back onto the owner of the vehicle, because sometimes we're the owner of the vehicle.
Okay. Stay there for a second.
Yes,
Going to follow that up?
of course.
So in the world we're in today in Sun Prairie and that, we're very concerned. We're being very fiscally responsible. Why the extension and not a new RFP?
Because the RFP is actually, the contract goes up until this year. We're going to redo the towing contract here in 2026. We're kind of in arrears with the contract, so we're just extending it that 1 year to get to that RFP process. I would defer to the legal if I'm misspeaking, but I believe that's my recollection.
Nope, you're fine on that, Chief. And this is an RFP process that isn't an immediate thing, because we need to develop the RFP, get that approved by the relevant committee, and then send it out to the towing contractors. And I know in the past, the towing contractors were very vocal with council about which contract they felt should be approved and why. So it is a more lengthy process than you might expect it would take. And the chief is also correct that there are ways for us to recoup most towing expenses. But as he stated, sometimes we need our own vehicles towed, or is a vehicle that needs to be towed so imminently, and it takes us a while to recoup expenses, because oftentimes when we bill somebody, they pay it off in increments on a payment plan, which is fine, but that means we have to cover it in the meantime.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, Chief. Okay, Elena, would you please take the roll?
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that passes 6-0.
Thank you, Elena. Okay, on to Public Works Committee. Alder Comstock.
Thank you. The first item has to do with an extension of the contract for waste recycling services. With Pelletieri, the contract is due to expire on May 1st of this year. Public Works staff have preferred to have the contract continue for one more year. And the purpose for that is uninterrupted coverage. There would be a cost change to that, which would amount to about 30 cents per home, a monthly increase. There was some great discussion about this request for the year extension, and the Public Works Committee actually felt that a 6-month extension would be more appropriate, with an RFP being developed quickly. And put this out for a bid as quickly as we can. It's come to my attention that Pelletieri would not accept a 6 months, but they would accept an 8-month. I don't have, is JR here? Yes. You want it? If you have questions about that, JR would be happy. He'd be happy to come up here.
He is ready, Alder Comstock. Yeah. He's ready.
Yeah. You're still awake. That's a good sign.
So thank you, Mayor and Council. So with what was brought forward to the Public Works Committee last Tuesday was an extension for the refuse and recycle contract. So currently the contract runs through till May 1st of 2026. So in that current contract that we have, there was the option to extend for 1 year at favorable terms agreed to upon both parties. So in discussions with Pelletieri, I asked them to put a proposal together for what that 1 year extension would be and what the cost would be. What they presented to us was a 1 year extension at the same rate increase that they had done over the last 5 years, which equated to 30 cents per household per month increase, which was the same as it had done in each of the 5 years that was with that contract. So with that, and in discussion with them of asking them, going out for an RFP of cost-wise and such, they had shared that, obviously this has been 5 years since it was put up, so a new contract would probably be more expensive just based on the economics of things. I also spoke with some other surrounding communities that have recently renewed a refuse recycle contract with, two have been with Pelletieri and one was with another vendor. And based on their information on what they were paying is, we would be at a $12 per unit cost with this 1 year extension. Some of these other municipalities that have renewed within the last 2 years, they were in the areas of the almost $13 per unit household for what they were. Again, based on some of that information and that data and talking to that, we thought it was the greatest advantage would be to leverage the 1 year extension as where the original reasoning was with that, to lock in that price for that 1 year, but immediately be starting on that RFP process with it there. So working with the RFP, the refuse contract is probably one of the biggest contracts that the city does do. Last year it was $1.6 million, almost $1.7 million that it cost the city for that. So we want to make sure when we're putting the RFP together, it does involve gathering a lot of data, a lot of information to put it together and make sure that we do it right and correctly. This originally came forward when I started working with this and knowing this. It was in November is when I became aware that this was expiring with that. So with some of the changeovers and stuff, as I stepped into this and I started checking into it, that's why I started to immediately try to at least get this extension. It was scheduled to go to the December Public Works Committee meeting, but that meeting was canceled, so it did get delayed into the January meeting to where it was. But again, speaking with Pelletieri, as Alder Comstock had said, at that meeting, they had made a recommendation to go with a 6-month. Pelletieri had said they would take it back to the president and talk to them, but a 6-month for them, just logistically trying to get everything up together, and they've never done a 6-month. They've always, just done a year. It's always been a year renewal. So with that, they came back and said that they'd be willing to work with us. They want to, try to be the best that they can and work with us. If they would do a 8-month, which would take us to the end of the year, on the same favorable terms that they would do the 1 year, which would be that 30 cents increase per household on that. So that's kind of where we are with that. So from staff's recommendation of the 1 year and then the amendment that was made at the Public Works, that's how theirs came up as a 6 months. Either way, we're looking at starting that RFP process right away. In fact, they've already started gathering some of that. But again, it is one of the contracts. We want to make sure everything is correct and gather all the data. So we want to do it as fast as possible. Either way, the goal would be to have an RFP put together and in place and then be able to award that contract, even if we went with a 1 year or even to the end of the year. If we can get all that and award that contract, we would look at awarding that before this contract would actually expire. So the original goal was to do that, try to award something in the end of 26 or before the end of 26. That way, knowing what we could work with it with our budget, so then we would know what the budget would be going into 27 and such. I mean, we still can do that even if we're doing a shorter one, but that was the original reasoning behind that, knowing that we could have that in and then we'd be able to plan for that in 27 such. The refuse fee is a separate fee on the tax bill, so it's not something that is rolled in there. It's a separate fee on that. So being able to know that, we'd be able to apply that then to the future tax bills is going on with that. So other than that, have any questions? The representative from Pelletier is also here if there's questions anybody has.
JR, is that a 30-cent for both refuse and recycling? 30-cent increase?
Total.
It'd be a 30-cent total on that. So currently we're paying $11. It's being billed $11.70 per resident. It would go up to $12.
Okay.
And that includes refuse and recycle weekly, picked up weekly. That also encompasses the dumpsters and the and such that we do. The spring and fall yard waste that they provide is a separate fee that is an hourly fee. So that's just billed hourly that we are billed for and pay for that. But just the weekly pickup would be $12 with this new proposal.
Okay, thank you. Before we go into questions, I'd like to ask for a motion, depending on which way we're going to go.
Well, the motion would be coming from Public Works would be for a 6-month.
Okay.
Because that's what came out of Public
Yes.
Works, and what that would be the motion.
Okay.
So
I second it.
There you have it.
Okay.
It's a 6-month extension.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Now we'll get into discussion. Alder Owens.
I'd like to ask legal counsel, does our contract language provide all the sliding of dates here?
So our contract allows for a one-time 1-year extension.
So we would be violating our own contract to do this?
Yeah, unless the other party was willing to agree to a different amendment, which is why I think the original staff recommendation was to do the 1-year extension. The other fact I do want to point out, which I discussed very briefly earlier with, I believe you, Alder Owens, as well as some of the engineering and public works staff, is that if we were to do a 6-month extension, JR, I believe that would have the contract expiring like end of this year, correct, rather than next May?
Correct. The contract expires May 1st of 2026. So it would be expiring here that. So we would have to either find some way to extend that or make sure everything could be completed and get put back together and make sure that we have that and have that contract awarded. So that contract would have to go through of putting the RFP together, taking it to committee to get approval to go take that RFP out, then get that RFP, get it back, score that, come up with the scoring of that, and then come back and do a presentation to get that contract awarded. So just in those things there, you're talking at approximately almost 2 months just after you would get it done. Say nothing about gathering and getting everything there. So typically when a vendor is looking to do a bid on refuse and recycling, there's a lot of information they want. They want to know how many households. They want to know, what is your projected growth. They want to know what, if you have any, looking at any changes. They like to know the amount of tonnage of refuse you're having, your recycle makeup, looking at, what do you have for plastics, what is that? That information is what you're usually getting from your current contractor, trying to have them get that information so you can put that in. These are all questions that are very common that come back from an RFP if you don't have them in there with it. In the last 3 contracts that the city has done RFPs for refuse, we've only gotten 2 bidders that would actually bid on it. There's not a lot of vendors in our area that are really into the refuse collection. Some of them are focusing mainly on commercial contracts or very small communities that they'll do. A community of our size, usually now you're getting into one of the other larger vendors. So even when we do our RFP, it would not be surprising to see only 2 bids come back even now for where we are. There's a lot of buying and selling amongst those. The last time we did this in 21, We only received 2 contracts. That vendor has actually been bought and is owned by somebody else now too. So again, definitely we need to do our due diligence to go out for RFP. We need to make sure that we're doing that and offering the best price to our residents with that. But it is something that we kind of want to do, and we want to get it done correctly. So because it is such a large one, we don't want Kathleen being involved in something that we overlooked or we didn't have something done correctly.
Okay, Alder Baker.
JR, first I want to say a job well done on your transition, what you're doing as an interim, because you respond so fast sometimes. I don't think I've taken my fingers off my keyboard and you've already responded. I love the transparency you have about all of our snow removal, the phone numbers that you provide for us. Yes, I'd like to be in one of those trucks. I don't want to get up that early. I'm probably already awake as they're driving by and I'm running down the street with coffee, but they don't see me. Have to check in the rearview mirror. But no, I just want to say thank you for that. It's a joy to get responses from you on this. My question is, are all the RFPs 5 years?
Typically for refuse and recycle, 5 years is usually what is done. A common practice that a lot of the vendors are doing is doing a 5-year, and then they'll put a clause in there if you're willing to extend within the first, typically, and don't quote me, is it 18 months?
18 months to all of our contracts.
You can exercise to go to a 10-year. The city of Middleton exercised that right to go to a 10-year. I know McFarland just recently did that. They exercised that option to go to a 10-year contract on their refuse and recycle to take advantage of it is a time-consuming to get it out and then try to leverage what some of the cost is with it there. So again, that was, with ours trying to come up with it, trying to leverage the opportunity with that. But again, that we just brought forward the best we could with our recommendations of what we feel was the best option at the time. But
The reason
whatever the motion is.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The reason I was asking is I remember back in the day of this last RFP that we had, I think that was probably one of the most heated discussions besides sidewalks that Sun Prairie's ever had, was about waste hauling, and that we had the RFP, but the lowest bid was not taken. And I'm still kind of stymied on how that happened, or because you want to get the best deal, build the best relationship, which I think Public Works has that relationship with Pelletier, or you wouldn't be asking to extend. So really, they've been with us for 10 years, correct?
Correct, yes. There's been two contract cycles that have been with Pelletier. So it'll be 10 years in this May that we have had them as our refuse collection.
How can a bid, just because of everything we're going through in the city, how can a bid be chosen that's higher in price?
I can't answer. I was not part of that. I do know with the data, there was going through the scoring matrix that is established to review, to be fair on that. Pelletier did come out with the highest score. Cost is one aspect of that scoring matrix.
Thank you.
But it was a thorough based on that, and I do have all of that there. They did score substantially higher than the other vendor in that total score. And again, cost is one aspect of that. But I was not involved with that last one. I was aware of it, but I couldn't answer all the specific reasons why it was recommended on that.
No, you did exactly what I wanted you to. I was trying to lead you that way into knowing that there's other things that are involved other than the price and the matrix that's used to calculate the choice of the vendor. I think that the people of Sun Prairie need to know that. Yes. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, Alder Rosas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I need some clarification on something. And I believe, and this is my opinion, and what I heard in the Planning Commission, misinformation. So I'm going to direct this to our city attorney. I asked the very same questions about the extension of that year where we in breach of contract. And we were told we were not. So please clarify that for us, please.
So just to clarify, you're asking if we would be in breach of contract of this contract by extending it for 1 year.
Extending it for 6 months versus the year.
6 months rather than a year. So if we extend it for 1 year, that would be consistent with the terms of our original contract, which allowed for a 1-year extension. If we extended it for 6 months, arguably Pelletary could say, nope, that's not something we're interested in, nor is it something we're obligated to agree to, because we did not agree to that at the time we were letting the contract. When we accepted the contract and signed the award, we said we will do 1 year extension or we will do no extension. So, I mean, the issue of breach is ultimately between both us and them. If we can reach some sort of other mutual agreement, that's always acceptable. Parties are allowed to amend contracts. I do note too that the timing on this, I think, is always intended that we wouldn't be switching a vendor in the middle of winter, so that in the event that we would need to change receptacles for all of our residents, that wouldn't have to occur during the pleasant weather we've currently been having. But ultimately, an action for breach would be brought by Pelletary. So if we said we'd like to extend it for a year and they said no, we wouldn't execute an amendment. If we said we'd like to extend it for 6 months and they said no, we simply wouldn't execute the amendment, at which point we need to find a new garbage vendor in 3.5 months.
Okay, this question is for JR. You said they want an 8-month extension versus 6. You assured the Plan Commission that you could be able to do this in 6 months. What changed?
The primary change was Pelletary is not agreeing to a 6-month extension. So the 6 months to put the RFP together is something that we can accomplish. It's getting the contract that we do not have an interrupted service for our refuse collection. So getting the RFP together, out and back, and getting awarded within 6 months is something that we can handle, that portion of it. The portion that we're not being able to meet right at this moment is the 6-month extension, that the vendor is not something that they have an option for there. But they're willing to do an 8-month, which would take us to the end of the year, is what they're looking at. So as far as getting the RFP together, yes, that can be done. That can be accomplished in that 6 months. That gives us the time frame to do that. It's just whether we can come to an agreement with the vendor to only do a 6-month extension is where the difference is from what the original recommendation is and where the amended recommendation is on that. Does that answer the question?
Well, kind of. The other question I want to follow up also is that the contract that we have, you said we can be able to do it, but Pelletary says no, they want 8 months versus the 6 months. Is that going to be an issue here for us in terms of breach of contract? I guess I'm going to ask the representative straight out.
If you could come up.
Please come up here, please.
Yes.
Hello again, Todd Bolenbach with Pelletary Waste Systems. I'm the municipal account executive over there. All of our contracts, at least 90% of them, and again, this per the city of Sun Prairie, the contract says you have the option, if the parties agree, to a 1-year extension. With 11,107 homes that we service in the city, as you can imagine, there's numerous trucks involved, there's people's jobs involved, there's routing involved, there's a lot of logistics go into that. We don't want to put ourselves in a position where we've got, 6 months to do all that. Our standard extension is 1 year.
Yeah.
We thought it would be, we want to work with the city. You guys have been great partners for years. We thought an 8-month, and that was actually my suggestion that I pitched to the president of the company, that would put you to the end of the year. So if you did decide you wanted to go with somebody else, you're kind of starting January 1st, you're not have 2 months of different costs that you don't know what they're going to be in your budget. And that gives us time too, if, like I said, we're still hoping that you choose to stick with Pelletary. There's, in our opinion, not another company out there that's going to provide the kind of service we can provide, the kind of response that we can provide. I know you mentioned a JR. It's nice to get we're one of the companies you call and a human's going to answer the phone. You can get a hold of somebody with our company, and there is a slight cost with that. Are we going to walk away and tell the city of Sun Prairie, absolutely not? No, we're not going to do that. I thought 8 months was very fair considering your contract says a year.
Okay. Did you answer my question, though? I mean, if we go to 6 months versus 8, where does Pelletier stand on that?
We stand and we don't think that that is reasonable, but again, I'm not going to stand up here and fight with anybody. We thought 8 months was more than fair.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I just want to continue my comment, please, if I may.
Sure.
I think Alder Baker took a lot of the thunder out because in the first year, if I remember, we approved a lot of contracts. And what I found interesting is what Bill just mentioned, is that sometimes we choose a vendor that's in terms of a higher price. And this is the recommendation from the city staff. And I couldn't understand that. You know, as a business owner, usually it goes for the low bid. And of course, there's a lot of metrics, as he was saying, and there's a factor to that, but you still look at the low bid, especially the time that we are going into a referendum and stuff. So that was my approach on that. The other concern I have is the chairperson just received this information at 9 o'clock this morning. You know, we had the meeting last week. I am surprised that you could have got that earlier so we had a chance to discuss it. I think it's unfair not only for the Plan Commission, but also for the Common Council. Now we're kind of put in a spot. What should we do? This is one of the reasons I was asking you, if we go 6 months versus 8, where does Pelletier stand legally?
Legally?
Yeah.
Legally, we can do whatever we want if we come to terms with things. We work together. We're not against you. I know you have some, not a big fan of our company. I understand that. I respectfully don't feel like the entire city of Sun Prairie feels that way. And I stand here before you as a partner of the city. I'm not working against you. Your city contracts is a year. You want to do 6 months. I understand that. We just thought 8 months was more than reasonable. That gets you to the end of December. You start 2027 fresh.
No, nothing personal, but I was very frank with you on the Plan Commission that there were some issues from your company and the people I spoke to, and then there was 3 my constituents also complained about it. And I was very honest with you on that. And that's one of the reasons I think that we should open this up to, open bid in 6 months. So I want to let up to the council here how they want to vote. I don't know if I want to go with 8 months. I'll be very honest with you. So that's my statement. Thank you.
Well, if I may, I think that we are, the motion coming out of committee was 6 months. And if that, and I don't think that we can change that motion. We can take it back to committee and have it discussed there in deference to the committee who, we still have 3 of us are here, but there are still 2 other gentlemen who are not.
Motion?
We could change it, but here's my concern, is that the committee made a decision. If the decision changes, shouldn't the committee be making that change?
Here.
As opposed to us making the change for the committee. I'm not
That
sure
would be
that's
my
appropriate.
recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, the committee deserves to have it come back.
Okay.
Alder Owens.
I'm not understanding the timeline here. So last week when the committee met, it was 6 months that you decided.
Mm-hmm.
When did we learn that the counter offer was for 8 months?
I got an email 9 o'clock this morning.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
And I know, with deference to JR, is probably, he's been a busy guy, and I'm not sure that.
It won't stop snowing.
Yeah,
so.
if it would stop snowing, I know we'd get a lot more out of him, to do other things. But, and so I can understand why it might be delayed a little bit. And I don't know what, certainly the conversations that he's had, but, there's a process involved there and with communicating, so.
Okay.
Well, like I said, and if I could say something here again, if that's you're steadfast on 6 months, like I said, I'm not going to fight you guys on that. The contracts is a year. We thought we were being absurdly reasonable by suggesting 8 months, which would, instead of November 1st, a new contract starting to be January 1st, 2027.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to have another whole meeting for 2 months and need to go into all that, I'll save you the hassle. I'll okay 6 months. I just like I said, we thought we were being very reasonable. Your contract says a year. We just thought 2 months would give us a little more time to put things together as well and look at our resources and how our trucks and our people are allocated as well.
Well, I'm certainly willing to take it back to committee. I think we're 3 weeks out from that next meeting.
It sounds like a motion to me.
Yeah, and it would seem that
Is that a motion?
There's already a motion.
we have a motion on the floor.
We already have a motion.
We'll get a vote on this.
And a
I'm
second.
sorry.
There's a motion on the table.
That's
right now.
correct.
The 6 month.
Sorry.
Okay, any other discussion? So the motion on the table is 6 month extension as recommended by Public Works. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Alder Baker.
I'm trying to think this through. Really, this whole issue is on the city, it is on us, because with the transitions that we've been going through, we should have been ahead of this 2 months prior, but we've had changes in personnel. We know we've had some challenges there. And if not, we could have had the RFP out on time. So actually and we know that there's a 1 year extension offered by Pelletier that's in the agreement already. So we actually countered the original agreement to 6 months over a year. And now there's another counter of 8 months instead of the 6. I think we carry a lot of the brunt of responsibility on this issue right now. And I think we need to keep that in mind as we think through our processes.
Okay. Yes.
Recording in progress.
I guess, Mr. Mayor, the only thing that we would want to highlight is our recommendation, regardless of personnel changes, would be to extend the contract for the year. As you can see, those that bid it out, the prices were higher. This price could go off the table if we choose to go out and bid it. And so that is the risk that we are taking. So regardless of personnel changes, regardless of putting out the RFP, our recommendation would have been to take advantage of the additional year. That's where you're seeing municipalities not only take advantage of additional year, but taking the advantage of additional 8 years, right? If you're a year and a half into the contract and you call up Pelletier and say, we'll go out 10 years, you're trying to lock in your prices for a strategic advantage. And so the additional year there was a reason that it was in the contract. It was trying to lock in that additional price. And so I guess I just want to make sure that the council factors that in. Is just because we go out for bid does not mean the pricing is better than what is before us. That is the gamble that we'd be taking, is just going out for bid doesn't mean better price. It just means you went through the bid process. And Pelletier, hopefully they wouldn't do this, but they could come back and say, for the honor of going through the bidding, because it costs us money to do that, the uncertainty and the administrative cost of doing it, you may get a higher price as a result of that. And that's why these other municipalities are locking themselves in to that long-term agreement. And so I just want to make sure that is, we're thinking about that element of it as well.
Good point. And plus it would have the advantage of expiring in the warmer weather, like May, if you went with that 1 year. So when this does go back to the committee, I would take it from your comments that we should not only discuss an 8 month, but also a 1 year, going with a 1 year at 30 cents a month increase. Alder Rosas.
Aaron, you said that if we go out for bid does not necessarily mean it's a lower bid. Can you give us an example of what other vendors we ran into that you experienced that?
Yeah, I think refuse collection, just like JR mentioned, is a very unique contract. One is there's a significant barrier to entry for a new hauler to come into the marketplace, meaning there's not many vendors that are going to bid on the work. We saw that in 2021, it was 2 vendors at the end of the day. And so it's a very small market of vendors. And so you're seeing situations where municipalities would rather lock in a price. 10-year contract is a very unique contract. We do not have, I'm trying to think if we have any contracts in the city 10 years in length. It's got to be very few, if any, other than refuse and recycling. That's a reflection of very little competition in the marketplace to be able to go out and secure a lower price. And so these municipalities are locking themselves in to a 10-year price to guarantee their pricing, to try to maximize that. And so garbage collection is not similar to a lot of other contracts, but I would relate them to contracts where you have very little competition. So if there was another product that the city wanted to get, where there's very little competition in the marketplace, bidding may not, if you already have a pre-existing relationship, may not secure a lower price. It doesn't always do that. So it's up to the council to decide whether you will do better in the open market, knowing that there's a very small number of players, or whether you would do better taking advantage of the 30-cent increase that is before you in a year extension. That's the gamble. And I don't know which one will produce the best result. I just want to make sure that we contemplate what we have on the table, a year extension, 30-cent increase per month, and what the open market, which may only be one or one additional vendor, what does that produce? The other issue that you'll have to factor in, and I'm sure it was factored in 2021, although I was not directly involved in the process, is the quality of service, right? Garbage is one of those things that you want done correctly. And so that, again, in a small marketplace, what is the quality of the service, price, and you'll have to weigh those to determine outcome.
Go ahead.
Alder Owens.
Well, it seems to me there's new information since the committee met. And if the committee chair thinks it should go back to committee, I think we should defeat this motion and refer it back to committee, and we'll have them study all the options.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. And if I can withdraw the motion, I will, but I don't know that I can do that.
You can
So
if,
we'll just-
if the
but-
second
yeah,
withdraws.
let's just
You can make a friendly.
take a vote and follow up.
I'll look to our city attorney. If we want to withdraw that, can we do a friendly?
So to withdraw, there's no such thing as a friendly withdrawal. We like to
Okay.
say it, but that doesn't exist in Robert's rules. So either the motioner and the seconder would need to agree that it can be withdrawn, or the parties would need to vote, and then you could take up a new motion.
Okay. So we will vote on the 6 month, and if it gets defeated, then we will go from there.
I'm ready with the next motion.
So Elena, please take the roll.
All right. Owens.
No.
Rosas.
Aye.
Sorry, Baker.
No.
Comstock.
No.
Crombie.
No.
Strangler.
No.
And that motion, fails.
Okay, Alder Comstock, do you have an
I move that we take this issue back to committee for review to determine an appropriate path to go.
I'll second it.
okay?
And that would be the next committee meeting. We're not going to wait till April or May.
Yeah, the February. Okay, any discussion?
Recording in progress.
Okay, Elena, would you please read the roll on the referral?
Owens.
Aye.
Rosas.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Comstock.
Aye.
Crombie.
Aye.
Strangler.
Aye.
And that motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Elena. Okay, next item,
Next item is the,
wayfinding.
yes, sorry. It's the Loop Wayfinding Bid Award. for the signage. And 3 bids came in. Staff is recommending the lowest bid, and that would be to Highway Landscapers. And so the motion would be to accept staff recommendation on the lowest bid.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any discussion? I do want to point out to the vast listening audience that this will be funded up to 80% by federal grant funds. So that's a big plus for this.
I'll still second
Okay. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, Alana, please read the roll.
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Last item.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's Liberty Square. Okay. We have, I believe this is a procedure for accepting public improvements, inspect installation of said improvements, generate punch lists and so forth. Developers and contractors are required to provide a 1-year warranty for the improvements after acceptance. The recommendation from Public Works staff, hang on just a second, I'm in the wrong spot, which nobody could be surprised by that. Then I just went to the wrong spot again. Go.
You want to take?
No, go ahead.
Okay. This, we're on C, resolution accepting the public improvement for Liberty Square. And the staff recommend the Common Council approve the item. And I move approval. I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. And again, this is the public improvements for Liberty Square.
Mm-hmm.
Alder Owens.
What are the improvements? They're not listed.
We have Tom Veith coming forward. Tom can explain.
Yeah, good evening. The public improvements for Liberty Square, this current phase that was being constructed. So the public improvements include sanitary sewer, water main, storm sewer, curb and gutter, road, pavement. So everything that's kind of within the public right of way. Once it's built, accepted, we have a 1-year warranty, and this is the start of the 1-year warranty. So we'll inspect it next spring before it officially becomes ours to own and maintain.
What's the price?
I believe it was around $1 million of construction costs, something like that. Again, I don't have it in front of me, but I can certainly get you the exact number. So,
I look out the window every morning and it looks fantastic.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Alana, please take the roll.
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Alana. Okay, now we'll go back to Parks, Recreation, and Forestry on the MOU.
Thank you, Your
Alder
Honor.
Crombie.
So the next, or the item that we're going to be discussing was actually at the last council meeting, and we didn't have enough information to make a decision, so we we actually made a motion to have it go back to the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry last week. So I'm going to, because I know we have this formal, the YMCA that's written on here, but it's really called the Y. Back in 2010, they did a rebranding, and for inclusiveness and for vibrant, they call it the Y. So when I say the Y, I mean the YMCA. So basically, I want to thank Chad Shelton. We had hours of conversation in regards to this after it was at the last council meeting. But the YMCA, they actually They have this program that's called Club Cardinal that they collaborate with the Y and with Parks and Recreation. This was started back in, I believe, 2000, and it was offered in 2021, but started during COVID in 2020. So we partnered with the Y to provide the Club Cardinal as a wraparound care program during summer school weeks. So as part of the current agreement, the parties agreed to split all registration, revenue, and program expenses equally. In the fall of 2025, representatives from the Y reached out to start the process to discuss the terms of the existing MOU. And a lot of this had to do with basically, there was a lot of challenges, let's put it that way, with program registration, and it turned out that the Y was actually doing a lot of the work that the Parks Department was not able to do. So there's a 1-year amendment in this current MOU. So in about 2 to 3 months, they're going to discuss it again with the Y, as outlined in the proposed amendment. And then staff is recommending for the summer of 2026 that we partner with the Y to provide wraparound care only during the summer school weeks, with the city receiving 50% of the revenue for the program, minus the operating expenses of the camp. Additionally, as part of the proposed MOU, the Y is solely responsible for the staffing, supervision, programming, operations, and administration of the camp during summer school weeks. So for non-summer school weeks, both the Y and the city are free to offer their own summer care programs. As also outlined in this amendment, we agreed to meet with the Y representatives in the first half of 2026 to discuss possible camp partnerships for the summer of 2027 and moving forward. So basically, the approved 2026 budget is in here, and it doesn't reflect any of the proposed MOU changes, as these changes were not known at the time of the department budget submission, and the amended MOU negotiations were not completed until early 2026. So there's a summary of the approval of the 2026 budget, and then the proposed MOU. And basically, there is a difference, of course, but that difference is the decrease in net revenue of $19,228. We anticipate the decrease to be absorbed over the fiscal year through increased registration in other recreational programs, and anticipated higher than budget registration for the Kids in the Park summer camp program. And I believe, Chad, I don't know when that did come out. It was a couple weeks ago, I believe. And it was at 40% as of last Wednesday. And currently right now it's at 100% for the camps. So they're well, and they have a unrestricted fund balance as of at the year end of 2024, which is the recreation fund is just over $109,000. So it's a healthy fund balance, but this gives the recreation department more time to find other programs that they could also have for the summer. So I'm going to make a recommendation that the city council, that we approve the proposed amendment to the MOU, and this is just for this year. They're in a couple months, they're going to talk about it again, and then of course it's going to be coming back here. That we approve the proposed amendment to the MOU with the Y of Dane County for the 2026 Club Cardinal program. And we do, for any of you that may have questions, this is kind of confusing. We have Chad Shelton here, and I believe we have Caitlin's online. So she may have to answer some of the questions if anybody has any.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Question for you, Alder Crombie. You had mentioned a 50%, and the recommendation here was 70-30. Which is the correct?
It's 50% for the first 6 weeks
Okay,
for the Cardinal camp.
okay.
And then that's correct, right, Chad? Yes.
I can just jump in if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
So yes, the MOU on the agenda last meeting was for a 70-30 split. We then had further conversations with the expressing some of the concerns we were hearing. We had further conversations with members of the Y, I'll say Y instead of YMCA. And we are now at a 50-50 split minus operation costs. And the program is limited to just the weeks that are summer school. So those 5 weeks.
And the wonderful thing is that the last 6 weeks, they're already over 100%, correct? For programming?
For
your last 6 weeks.
For our kids at the park,
Right.
which is a camp
Yep.
that we began last summer out at Wetmore Park, utilizing the new shelter out there. So that's a camp. That's not a partner camp with the Y. That's just an in-house program that this is year 2 on, and that's what Alder Crombie was mentioning, that in year 1 last year of Kids at the Park, we have already matched that registration already for this coming summer, and registration's only been open a week. So we're very optimistic that we're going to far exceed last year's registration since it doesn't begin until summertime, and also exceed our budgeted revenue for our in-house camp to offset the Club Cardinal partnership.
Thank you, Chad. Yeah, again, just for clarification, so the 70%, 30% doesn't apply?
Correct, it does not.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted the clarification. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Alder Baker.
Sounds like the MOU seemed like it was a very nice deal that was put together a few years ago and all that. And I understand there were struggles and all that. Help me and help the council understand how those struggles occurred, where the Y would come to the city and go, yeah, we don't like the split. We're doing all the work, and now we want to do a 90-10, which was last summer, and now we're negotiated back to the 50-50. I'm concerned about that because we're losing that 19,000 with the hopes of making up that difference. And I need to tell the people in Sun Prairie, we need to explain that to them.
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, so just so operationally, there was so when the original MOU was put into place, several years ago now, and in practice and operationally, with the camp and the responsibilities and the tasks of each organization, there's proven to be some challenges by way of Alder Crombie mentioned registration piece and staffing, and that's what sparked this most recently. After last summer, it was just some of those operational challenges, and that's where we sat down with him and talked through this to work through some of these challenges that we have experienced.
It sounds like they sat the city down to tell them that we're doing the work and we need to have the bigger portion of that. What was it about the registration that was so difficult, or was it an online thing?
So it was
an IT issue?
It was the one party having registration, and when it was originally set up, I think what we didn't anticipate was the one party, the YMCA, the Y, that was doing the registration, it was going to lead to a lot more than anticipated administrative time, staff resources to manage that registration, is what wasn't anticipated at the time that the agreement was put into place. And that was one of the pieces that prompted further conversations about that.
It's hard for me to understand how we couldn't pull that together as a department, as a city, to really help fill that need. I know the folks at the Y. The Y is a first-class operation, and they are go-getters. They just get the job done. So if it's not being done, they step in and do it, which it sounds like that's what happened here. Do you really feel that we're going to be able to go in and have a new negotiation and recreate something if we agree to this amendment?
I do. We both expressed our, the desire to have a partnership. We partnered with the YMCA on some other programs in the past, a track and field program a few years ago. That was quite a big program, and a youth basketball program. So, I think we were very honest and upfront with each other that we value the partnership and we do want to see the partnership continue. It's just a matter of what does 2027 and beyond look like, and that's where we're going to get back to the table in here in a few months and talk about that.
So in the your report that you put in here, it also talks about for kids at the park program that you have 98 kids participating. Mm-hmm. Is that on a 10-week schedule, 98 per week?
No, that's let's see. So is this okay, so this was yep, so 98 was what we had in 2025. So that's total participants over the course of the summer. Oof. So that's what we had last year in year one. So registration's been open for 1 week, and we're already at that number.
So I'm just trying to put numbers together. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have them already. So you've got a 10-week schedule from the program, from what I looked at on the website today. And bear with me, I can hear my voice going. I was trying to figure out if it's 98 kids per week, 98 kids per the entire cycle. So how much are you making on the kids at the park program? What kind of revenue? Not net, but gross.
So where we're currently at with that, like I said, we're pretty much matched with 2025 numbers already, 1 week in the registration, and that equates to about, I think it's about 25,000. If we hit capacity in our kids at the park numbers, which I'm very optimistic based on already being open 1 week.
What's capacity?
Capacity is 25 kids per week.
Okay.
Our revenue will be about 60,000. Okay. And I feel very good about that considering where we're at 1 weekend.
So is there a new program that you're creating to make up that 20,000 or 19,228?
So with this amendment, we'd be able to strategically reallocate some staff time and resources to expand in some school-based programs that we are currently offering, but adding some additional sessions that would bring in more revenue.
I think Caitlin wants to weigh in on this one.
Yep, just jump in on the budget. The budget that is the approved 2026 budget does not contemplate kids at the park being maxed out at 25 kids each week. I think it's at 17 to 18 kids. So like every good municipality, when we're budgeting, we underestimate revenues, are very conservative on them. We are very conservative on the expense side of things. So if Chad has been saying, we're open 1 week. We've already met our 2025 numbers. We're optimistic that we will reach capacity or near capacity for each of the weeks that we're offering kids at the park, which will surpass our revenue goal, which will help make up some of that gap that we have from the YMCA revised MOU. I hope that helps answer your question, Alder Baker.
Mm-hmm. We good? Okay, Alder Owens.
I just want clarification on when will this agreement begin and when does it end?
So it would begin, it would be for summer 2026, so this year. So it would begin essentially after it would get approved, and then it would end at the end of summer 2026. Or early fall, late summer, early fall, after the summer.
Right.
So in a few months, they'll be talking about it again for 27.
Yep. That's what I'm trying to
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Elena, please take the roll.
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
No.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that passes 5-1.
Thank you, Elena. Okay, moving on to the Business Improvement District Board. Alder Owens.
Actually, I'm going to defer to staff. Mary is in the back, I believe.
Oh, there's Mary. welcome.
Thanks. This is my first time being on the mic. So, this is our annual operation plan that's being shared with you all. The process that the bid has is that our board of directors reviews our operation plan every year and makes any edits or changes to it. And then the board approves it to recommend to you guys for approval. So, you guys just have the final look over of our operation plan.
Alder Owens.
Are there
Yeah.
any major changes?
No, our executive committee, major changes wise, like the format of it, we made it a lot clearer. We cleaned up a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff that was kind of outdated in regards to like kind of goals and stuff like that. So there was changes, but more of like kind of cleaning it up because we haven't done a really thorough review in a while. But all of the major kind of rules that we follow, all of that kind of stuff, nothing has changed.
Okay.
And then I will mention too, our budget is in there. You guys did approve our budget with the budget back in December. So we do have a snapshot of our budget in there, but nothing has changed since you guys last saw that as well.
And the board did pass it unanimously.
Anyway,
The bid board passed it unanimously.
yes,
Yeah.
they did. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And again, the annual bid meeting is next Thursday?
This Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yep,
Okay.
this Thursday. So if you'd
I
like
haven't
to
looked
join
ahead at my
us,
calendar.
we just
Yeah.
kind of recap everything that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, Elena, would you please take the roll?
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that passes 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Okay, on to unfinished business. Action required on the first item is the second reading ordinance creating Chapter 9.08.120, misuse of emergency phone numbers. We heard from Chief Warwick the last time. So we would look to make a motion to approve.
So moved.
So move.
Okay. We have a second?
There's a second right
Yeah.
over there, Alder Baker.
Okay, so any discussion on this? And Chief Work is here to explain again, answer questions. Okay, hearing none. Elena, please take the roll.
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Next item is also a second reading, ordinance approving an amendment to the City of Sun Prairie Comprehensive Plan to update the Mobility and Transportation Systems chapter. And again, Josh is in the audience to answer questions, as I see David also. How does the council want to proceed on this one?
I'll make a motion to move.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. Any discussion? Okay, Helena, please take the roll.
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
and that passes 6-0.
Thank you, Elena. Okay, under new business, approval of a development agreement for DiVentures, 610 South Thompson Road. Josh, are you going to bring this forward, or? And I do want to say, as Josh is coming forward, I'm going to recuse myself from any discussion or whatever. I used to work for DiVentures, so for full transparency, I will not be entertaining any questions or asking any questions. So
Sure. So this development agreement is a contract between the applicant and the city for the applicant to extend public sewer to serve 2 lots that was subdivided a couple of years ago. The precise implementation plan, which had been approved for DiVentures, has expired. So if they were to come forward with a proposal, they would need to reapply. However, the landowner wants to proceed with extending the sewer so that these properties are more ready for development. So this would be entirely at the cost of the applicant to extend the sewer. The development agreement provides the arrangement for that surety should the developer get into the project and then not be able to complete it, we would be able to liquidate the bond to finish the work.
Okay, I would look to the council for a motion.
So move.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion and a second. Now we'll get into discussion. Any questions for Josh on this project? Okay, Alana, please take a roll.
Owens,
Aye.
Rosas, Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drengler,
Aye.
and that passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next item, referrals to the committee of the whole. Do we have any referrals? Okay, next, announcements. Any announcements? Well, I do want to say with Chad in the audience here, we are coming up to one of my favorite times in Sun Prairie. That's Frozen Fest. So if the vast listening audience or those here in the audience are interested, the Sun Prairie Parks, Recreation, and Forestry website has all the information. It begins, this is what I was thinking for bid, it begins next week, January 28th, and runs through our prognostication on Monday, February 2nd. So there's something basic really for everybody. Please look at that, and according to the weather, we will have Frozen Fest this year, and not what we had last year, which was more toward life-saving versus ice skating. Okay, any other announcements? I'd look to our city administrator. You usually have this time during the committee of the whole. Is there anything you wanted to say?
I have nothing, Matt, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and our council president, did you want to say anything since we don't have a committee of the whole?
I just can't wait until we get an early spring.
There's no lobbying, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Hearing no other announcements, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.